special edition of Made in Montgomery. I'm Susan Kennedy. We're at AMP, Strathmore's newest music and dining experience. It's located at Pike and Rose. It seats 250 people, and lots of different artists come here to play. But tonight, one of Montgomery County's most iconic bands has taken the stage. For more than 40 years, the Nighthawks has been one of this region's favorite blues and American roots band. The history of the Nighthawks is extensive, beginning in 1972 when this four-member band burst onto the scene with their rockabilly style. And included in the devoted fan base, two young men who would become Montgomery County Council members. George Leventhal and Mark Elrich were part of the Nighthawks bandwagon. And we caught up with lead member Mark Wenner before a recent show at AMP. So here we are at AMP, first time for you guys to be playing here tonight. What was it about this particular venue that got your attention?
They asked.
Well, I want to say, first of all, in the early mid-1970s, there were a bunch of blues, rock, rockabilly, and R&B bands that all kind of burst onto the scene at the same time. And I'm talking about bands like Bruce Springsteen and the E Street Band, Southside Johnny and the Asbury Jukes, George Thorogood and the Destroyers. And here in the D.C. area, a lot of us at that time were and remain huge fans of a band of the same genre, the Nighthawks. Now, there's only one member of the Nighthawks who's still playing with the band from back when I followed them around when I was in high school, and that's their frontman, Mark Wenner. I used to play harmonica.
Oh.
And I know that Mark Wenner, is a student of the greatest blues harmonica players. And I am here to tell you that Mark Wenner is among the best harmonica players performing today.
Wenner was bitten by the music bug while he was a student at Columbia University after seeing legendary blues singer and harmonica player Paul Butterfield on stage.
You go from, you were an English major or whatever it was up there?
Yeah.
How did you go from that to becoming, the blues musician that you are?
Well, when I went to Columbia, I had a handful of harmonicas and an interest in possibly being a harmonica player, maybe on the side. I started September '66. October, they had the homecoming dance before the football game or whatever, and they had the Paul Butterfield Blues Band. We went to the homecoming dance and stood in front of Paul Butterfield the whole night, and I kind of went to my dorm room and started really focusing a lot more on harp than on contemporary civilization and humanities and all that other 2 years of the Columbia fundamental education that we were supposed to be having.
Make this young woman satisfied.
After a couple of years at Columbia, Wenner returned to Montgomery County where he grew up, where the audience for his kind of music was receptive. For Wenner, it was affirmation that a Montgomery County kid could compete in the world of blues.
I always liked that, you guys kind of captured the sound the way it sounded. You did a lot of stuff that sounded an awful lot like the guys who first cut it. You didn't rock it up. It was, it kind of stayed authentic, and I was always struck by that. And
really tried to capture at least the flavor of the originals. I was never one to be slavishly just making a duplicate. Although there's certain things that when one does, one is almost obligated to do that. The harp solo in Walking by Myself by Jimmy Rogers. Somebody said, "You play that solo the same as what's on the original." I said, "Yeah, because you can't improve on it.
That's right.
You can't improve on it."
I know that you really have an appreciation for that classic, blues and R&B.
Absolutely.
And you're always looking for new material that's really old material that may not have gotten
Right.
the attention that it, should have gotten.
Right.
So it must be fun to go through those songs and figure out, oh yeah, let's include this in our next show.
Oh, absolutely. Now I have a 40-year writer's block that I blame on the fact that every time I get a good idea, I can think of a really great song that somebody already did that says it better than I'm going to say it. Now, that's a pretty lame excuse for not writing, but in a way, it's true.
So who most amazed you?
Muddy Water.
Got my mojo working, but it just don't work on you. Got my mojo working, but it just don't work on you.
I mean, Muddy was like my grandfather. Muddy was just the most charismatic, powerful, important guy, voice, everything about him. And we got to spend a lot of really good quality time with him. We got to be in his living room, in his house. A perfect example of doing a run from like Seattle to San Diego, opening for Muddy every night. We all stayed in Berkeley at the same Best Western. So 11:30, I'm stumbling down into the little coffee shop to have breakfast, and there's Muddy Waters.
Yeah.
And Muddy says, "Well, Mark, sit down."
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I'm having breakfast with Muddy Waters, and just me and him one-on-one.
The Nighthawks name is nationally known, and its origin came from an idea Mark Wenner had by looking at his 1959 VW bus.
VW bus that was flat green with black spray-painted fog trim. It was sitting under a street light that I had bought. The guy I bought it from and I were walking across Connecticut Avenue, and it was sitting under a street light. I said, there it is, the Nighthawks. It was like an epiphany moment. I said, that's the name. I actually have a trademark on that name. Muddy initially liked our name. I mean, if you listen to
it's a great name.
Open All Night, that's Muddy introducing us at the cellar door. He doesn't say we're good, he said they have a beautiful name. They are the Nighthawks.
They got a beautiful name. They are the Nighthawks.
Here in Montgomery County, the Nighthawks play a host of venues, from the 4th of July celebration at Rockville Town Center to a recent acoustic show at the Music Cafe in Damascus.
This is the Music Cafe in Damascus, Maryland, the highest point in Montgomery County. It's home, I mean, I live in Montgomery County. I grew up in Montgomery County. It just means that I have a much shorter commute. It means also there are people here that I've been friends with for, in some cases, 50 years. So that makes it pretty special, too.
Part of the success of the Nighthawks can be attributed to their accessibility.
How you doing? Good. You're on camera.
Wenner and company are known for milling around the audience, visiting with folks who have come to listen. Many of them longtime friends and fans.
But you're really accessible. When you go to a show and between sets and everything, you know half the people there, and everybody's got things to talk with you about. And it's fascinating to see that kind of accessibility. You're not the kind of guys who, it's the end of the set and I'm getting off stage.
Right, and
we're done with it, now we get to pack up and go. You actually talk to people. And I've just been thrilled all these years.
I like that.
Daniel Wilson is a big fan of the Nighthawks, and at the Music Cafe, he had the opportunity to experience that openness firsthand.
Sweet home, Chicago.
it's been decades, man, and you're as pumped as ever. Every time I see you, which I go see you a lot, you know, you've still got this great energy and love of music. How do you keep it going?
Well, I'm having a good time. In fact, I'm probably having a better time now because so many things are sort of settled down. I'm not when I play. I've got, you know, now I've got 50 years plus of playing the harmonica. I don't have to think about a lot of the little detail things. I have a lot of muscle memory. Just real basically, I'm breathing in and out. See, those two notes are the same. Draw 2, blow 3. So I can do that all night without even hyperventilating. I'm having a really good time. So I think that's
Your audience is having a really good time too.
It just don't work on you.
The Wenner is the last remaining member of the original band. The current group of artists bring years of experience to the stage and studio. Each one of them makes a living from being a Nighthawk. Wenner says everybody wants to be there, everybody's pulling their weight, and everybody's professional. He says today the group is having more fun and playing better than ever. No day job, this is your life, the band.
Oh yeah.
24/7 all the time, and I know Mr. Elrich and Mr. Leventhal both asked you, how do you keep it going and keep it fresh and keep it real? And you even said the longest members right now are 12 years with the band, which is basically unheard of in your industry. How do you keep it going?
Couldn't take a nothing else. I still feel like I'm growing. I still feel like I'm moving forward. I feel like what I'm doing has, I think, a certain universal appeal. 43 years ago, I was hoping I'd still be playing music, this kind of roots and blues music for a living. I never had any real illusions about being a big star, but we've still been able to, you know, make a living playing our music.
Well, for those of us who followed you, I mean, we'll see you anywhere, anytime, and we want to, you know, promote our local arts and entertainment venue, and you've been and the scene here, and you've been part of that for so long. So we're just really proud of you, and this program Made in Montgomery is an effort just to recognize, you know, the values that we share as a community, and just recognizing your talent and your ingenuity. And thanks for keeping it local. I mean, you know, several times a year, anyone who lives here can go see the Nighthawks, and I hope they will.
Thank you very, very much, and thanks to everybody here at the Amp.